Hey guys, Principal Comic Book University, Luke Cage, issue number 1. Now, we actually have Luke Cage going down and beating up on some bad guys because they kidnapped this girl. Now, there's a really cool message here, a very important message that I think should absolutely get out to everybody, male and female. And on top of that, there's a really cool way that he takes down the main bad guy, Big Worm. And it reminds me of Friday, the dude that owned the ice cream truck selling weed. But he says, hey, man, you kidnapped this girl for $5,000. Like, I'm best friends with Danny Rand, a multi-billionaire, owner of Rand International Industries. Hello, I could just give you the cash, just call him up and give you the cash right away. He's like, really, man? You do that for me? Luke gets in close, just flicks him in the head. No. I love that. Then we're going to turn into a little bit more serious tone, as it turns out that Dr. Burstein, the guy who created him, so to speak, his version of the super soldier serum, which gave him the bulletproof skin and the enhanced strength, well, he actually died. Not only died, he committed suicide. Now, this is really wacky. This is a little bit weird because I know that, a lot of you guys don't maybe know the comic book necessarily, and you do know the Netflix series. Look, they're two completely different worlds. There, Dr. Burstein was a bad guy and all these illegal experiments, whatnot. But in the comic books, in I believe every single iteration of the comic books, Dr. Burstein was a really good guy. And Luke had a very good relationship. He had a solid relationship with him, and they were together, doing work for each other for a very long time in the early comic books back in the 70s, early to mid 70s. So the idea that he died and committed suicide on top of that right now is actually really troublesome for Luke, and it bugs him. It's bothering him a lot. Now, there's a huge mystery going on here, and as you could probably expect, it turns out that it seems as though he didn't actually commit suicide. Now, there's a whole bunch going on, and he winds up getting attacked by, it's funny, some dudes in a minivan, and they got some silly little ski masks on, and Luke is just making fun the whole way until all of a sudden he realizes that this one guy is apparently stronger than all the Hulks that he's battled, and Thor, and you name it. This guy's actually that strong, hits that hard. I don't know if I necessarily like the idea of that per se, but that's interesting nonetheless. It is interesting to see. In the end, the guy pulls out this sword that is, I don't know, I guess it's electromagnetically put together where it could turn into a slicing whip, and it's actually able to cut Luke Cage's skin, which is, I guess after you just got finished seeing the movie, it's not that big of a deal, but in the comics, that's a huge deal. That does not happen. It doesn't. He fought Ultron, and he got radiation poisoning and eventually wound up dying in a nuclear explosion, but his skin wasn't, scarred at all for the most part. It didn't get cut at all, so that is actually a really big deal. Guys, I'm going to give this comic a B+. This was really good. Now, David F. Walker is the writer in this, and he's got a little something at the end where he does a little talking, his explanation of him and his cousin walking into 7-Eleven and seeing this comic for the first time and just falling in love with it, making fun of, the language that was used and whatnot. But that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy reading because I don't want my comics to be drawn or written by people who are not fans. And this guy is clearly a fan. I don't know if this is the first comic he's ever written. This is the first time I'm ever noticing his name. I don't bother looking at a name too often if I don't like the comic. And Nelson Blake II, fantastic artist. Like everything about this. This is a really good, top-notch comic. Guys, I don't think that there's anything that you're going to read or see in here that you will not like. And I would like this comic to go a lot longer than 6 lousy issues because people aren't buying it. So I'm almost imploring you, I'm almost begging, go out, check out this comic, see how good it really is. It is an incredible comic, and I really hope that it goes on long. I want to see that this is actually a murder mystery and a lot going on, especially the surprise ending of who shows up to rescue Luke. All right, guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, class dismissed.